And I'm back with another edition of the podcast. I have a very special guest with me in Frankie Storey. Now, we were supposed to have another guest with us today. I won't mention his name. He was supposed to be here, but unfortunately he couldn't make it. So, nevertheless, we've got Frankie.
Hello.
So let's just get straight into it, man. Last night's fight, Dillian Whyte versus Lucas Browne. What did you make of it?
Yeah, I thought Dillian Whyte done very well. I thought he dominated the fight. I thought he showed his worth on the table, and with that knockout, he excelled. I thought.
Yeah, he really stretched him out, and I said before the fight that I believed that Dillian Whyte would win because he was younger, he was fresher,
of course,
more active, and I just didn't expect a dominant performance like that. And you know, the way how he delivered that knockout blow at the end.
Oh, it was wicked, straight on the chin. He looked so relaxed when he threw it, and he just looked like the dominator in there. So, I thought it was a confident win for him.
Yeah, no, he looked very good. And of course, we've got the big one next week with Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder. Yeah. Make sure you guys come down to the HQ Sports Bar for that. Frankie Storey will be there. But what are your initial thoughts on Anthony Joshua? I know you boxed at the Finchley Gym, that's where he originates from as well. So I know you're close with Anthony Joshua. How do you see him against Joseph Parker next week?
Well, I see it as a way of technically, Joshua can't bring a technical game to the table. I think Parker will start rushing in, and Joshua will use his experience, his height, and his reach to his advantage. But anything can happen in boxing, so you've got to take it one step at a time in every single round. So I think Joshua will bring, like I say, a technical game, maybe a couple counters, but I'm sure he'll be the dominator in not just the early rounds, but in the later rounds as well.
Do you think Parker will possibly try and see if he can take Joshua to the later rounds? Because I know in the Klitschko fight, he had a bit of stamina issues there, and against Takam, I know he finished him late, and he finished Klitschko late as well, but there were signs that maybe he had a bit of a stamina issue. So do you think that Joseph Parker might look at it and think to himself, if I can survive the early rounds, maybe I can take him late and try and you know, take him into deep waters?
And there's a possibility there, because it all comes down to how much you want it at the end of the day. So if he's fit and he's 100%, then there's a possibility that could happen. But I do believe that Joshua has everything in his armory to take on Parker.
Yeah.
And like I say, the experience will show as well. So
I agree with you also. I mean, I think that, you know, overall, I reckon that Anthony Joshua will prove to be the better man on the night. I think he will defeat Joseph Parker. I do, however, believe Joseph Parker will give him a good test. And I know that Anthony Joshua is not underestimating him. So I think that, yeah, it'll be a good contest between the two. But ultimately, I do see Anthony Joshua prevailing and winning the fight. And of course, Deontay Wilder will be there. He'll be doing a bit of commentary.
Yep.
Dylan Whyte, I'm sure he'll be there. So it could be like a WWE sort of event next week.
Yeah. The WrestleMania, you know what I mean?
Exactly, yeah. That, it should be good viewing.
Yeah.
But let's talk about your own career, because I know, like, I went down to the Finchley boxing gym, got a great interview with you, one-on-one. We opened up on a lot of things, and like, also I was watching a video the other day of you on the bag, and I was saying to myself, how hard does this guy hit? And we did the tactics. It was a very good time. Make sure you guys check out that video if you haven't seen it already. But yeah, I really enjoyed myself at the Finchley boxing gym. But I've just obviously seen your career at the moment with the amateurs and how you're struggling to get a fight right now.
Absolutely, yeah. Obviously I'm part of the alliance. So obviously, if people don't understand, there's like two governing bodies in the amateur game at the moment. So there's the Boxing Alliance, and there is England Boxing. And England boxers cannot box the alliance boxers, not even in championships, not even on club bouts, not even in box cups. So you've got to think there might possibly be more. I'm pretty sure there's more clubs in the England side of the governing body, but in the alliance there isn't as many clubs. So as an elite boxer and as a senior, it's still hard to get as many fights at my weight. Championships are in 4 weeks' time, and I've had many pull-outs. I've been sparring loads to prepare for these championships. I've had about 5 pull-outs prior to championships, and nothing's come through yet. So the main thing is for me is to push on to win these championships due to the lack of experience that I've had this season in the Alliance. So this is like the big thing for me. Like, it's come to the point where I've sort of realised in this side of the boxing, I'm mainly just a championship boy. There isn't that many club shows for me to box on, and there isn't that many boys at my weight to box. So I've got to take my time and opportunities. Yeah.
How frustrating is it for you to train so hard and diet, get yourself on weight, and this is not like a thing where you just come to the office, work and go home. This is your lifestyle, and you're doing this 24/7, and to train this hard and then to have a fight cancelled or to your opponent to pull out. How frustrating is it, like for somebody like you to go through that, especially on numerous counts this season?
Yeah, numerous counts this season is correct. It is extremely frustrating because obviously you've got to keep to a certain weight. So, alright, I might be 2 or 3 kilos above my weight, but I've still got to get to a certain weight category. And it isn't just the fact of, eat your pasta and eat your greens. Sometimes it's drying out. People don't see that. So, cutting water, eating maybe a strict protein diet, and people at home see what I go through just to make weight. So as well as that, with the training, it is a massive letdown at the end of the day when you haven't got anyone around you that's helping you to get to them goals of your weight. But a lot of the time, I feel like it's a massive letdown because there's nothing at the end to show for it. So if I'm there in the gym, 4 or 5 nights a week, I'm pounding away at the bags, I'm pounding away at the pads, I'm doing numerous rounds of sparring, and then they say, oh, you've got a fight on Friday, and it comes to Friday, and then on a Wednesday they say, oh, you pulled out, but it's happened 5 times. You start to wonder, what's actually going on here? Like, this is getting a bit fishy and a bit suspicious. Like, why is everyone pulling out? So the only way that we can tell is really in the championships, where no one can really run. So
do you think boxers like yourself are protected enough in that situation? Do you think more can be done to protect fighters like yourself, to get ready like this and then for fighters to pull out? Do you think, is there some sort of like sanction for fighters pulling out, or are they able to get away with it?
Yeah, they're just sort of able to get away with it. I mean, I was in the gym the other day. I was meant to be boxing on our home show, and I got my weight was absolutely bang on. This was actually the night before the fight, and I went down just to make sure my weight was okay, just have a little shake out of sweat, and I come into the changing rooms, got ready, only done about half a session just to sort of loosen out, and Sean come into the changing rooms and he goes to me, he started laughing, and I thought to myself, this is going to happen again, isn't it? And he started laughing. He goes, guess what I'm going to say? I know exactly what you're going to say. He's pulled out, hasn't he? And he goes, exactly. So it's getting to the point where it's getting extremely frustrating, and whether I stay in the Alliance or go back to England boxing, I'll probably decide that decision at the end of the season. But my main goal at the moment is to at least get on the England squad next year, and actually maintain my weight until then anyways, because I feel like now I'm maturing a bit more physically. I'm only 19, but sometimes I feel like I'm not actually going to grow any taller. Strength-wise, probably I could go a little bit more with the power and the strength-wise, but height-wise I think this is me now, so I've got to stick with about the 57, 56 category, so that's bantamweight, so yeah.
What would be, do you reckon, the ideal route for you? I asked this to your cousin actually earlier on this week. What would be the ideal route for you before eventually turning pro?
Well, this is what I really want to do. I want to like get onto the England squad, and then progress on the England squad, get a couple of fights under my belt, and then obviously go for the GB squad, just like Jordan Reynolds, the way how he done it. If I'm in the Alliance, there's no way I can actually do that. So I think the main decision for me is, do I want to stay with the Alliance, or do I want to go back to England boxing, where I could potentially go into the England squad, get picked for GB, and then possibly get on the Olympic team. So Yeah, as well as Team GB, they've got stuff like the British Lionheart, which is WSB, which is World Series Boxing.
Yeah. It's like a boxing league, isn't it?
Yeah, man, it's a boxing league, which is it sort of gets boxers a taste of the professional rank. So you do 5 rounds of 3 minutes. You have your top off. The gloves are a bit less padded, and yeah, it's like a league. So that's something that I'm quite interested in. But if I don't so much get onto the England squad or the Commonwealth Games squad or Olympic squad, then yeah, I'll probably just turn pro, because this is pretty much my life now. I know this is exactly what I want to do. So, alright, if I don't get picked for England, that doesn't mean it's the end of my career, because I know for a fact that I could do some serious damage in the pro game as well.
For sure. I mean, I've seen you in that gym and I've seen how hard you train, so I can co-sign that, man. Yeah, I mean, you've got a big support network around you as well. I mean, the support you've had, especially over recent weeks, has been, telling. Just seeing the amount of people that are behind you. So, I'm sure Luton will be backing you all the way.
I'm loving the support at the moment. It's that's the main thing about Luton as well, and Dunstable and Bedfordshire. They always get behind their boxers. Ever since I must have started boxing when I was about 11, and even my friends at school were always sort of supporting me and pushing me. So it's good. That's the main thing. As long as people are always behind you and pushing you and always giving you supportive comments, and that's the main. That's what keeps me going. Keeps me happy, man. Because it's nice to know that it's not like football where you've got 10 other people around you to pick up the pieces. That's you in there on your own. So people sort of respect you because it's such a lonely sport. They understand. Right, you go to work every day, and then you go to the boxing gym, and then you come home. So people respect you for that. It's not hard. It's not a hard way to go, but as in money-wise for your career. But I mean, the rewards at the end of it are very much
Very worthy, yeah.
Very worthy,
sure.
man. Yeah, so.
Well, listen, I appreciate you once again taking the time out to speak on these issues. I think it's very important, especially considering, just the dedication of hard work you guys put in for not to seeing, a light at the end of the tunnel with regards to having a fight. Must be very frustrating. I went up to Nottingham actually a couple of weeks ago to watch Josh Gooding.
Yeah.
He was about to box, and same thing. Like, we all went up there, all went up to Nottingham to go and watch him, and while we were there, we were told, the guy's not actually showed up, and that was the third opponent that pulled out in the space of a couple of days. So, yeah, I understand it does happen to a lot of guys in the amateur circuit, and it must be very frustrating.
Yeah, it's not good at all, man. It's not good at all. I think it's something that should be. If it happens 1 or 2 times, then alright, you can get away with it. But once it starts getting more and more, especially with the same opponent, once it starts happening a couple of times, I think there should be some sort of, it needs to be addressed a bit more. I think. So.
Yeah, I think so. But listen, I don't want to put too much of a dim on the amateur game, because I know it's great for young kids to get into, and I'm sure Frankie will be able to tell you that also. Do you have a message out there for any kids that might want to get into boxing, and what would you tell them?
I could tell you that it's a life-changing sport, man, to be honest with you. So I know quite a few people who come into the sport with nothing, and they have left with wealth and health as well. So, all right, yeah, you're getting your head bashed, and you're putting your body through physical pain all the time. But you got to think about what you want in the future, not so much what you want now. So, you could go from nothing to something overnight. That's the reality of it. So a lot of the time, mentally it's frustrating, but mentally it's rewarding, because you think to yourself, oh, okay, I might not be anyone, but within a few weeks you realise, oh my God, I'm on my toes now. I'm banging away at the pads. All right, I'm getting the gist of this, and then it starts to become sort of like a bug. For me, that was the way it was. For me, it was all right. It sort of runs through my blood and runs through my family, but it's more of like an addiction. It's once you have your first fight, then that's it. You just want to keep on fighting and fighting and fighting, because that feeling of the adrenaline and the feeling of and the euphoria you get when you get your hand raised is second to none, man.
Do you ever get nervous before a fight? Like I mean, as a young guy myself, I remember actually going through this process. But for you in particular, like just before a fight, before you're about to walk out, and you know you see the crowd and everybody's there. How was your emotions before you step into that ring? What do you think about it?
Well, if you want my honest God's truth, I've got to the point now where sort of to me it's like Sunday football really. Like I just love it. This is my life. This is my life. So when a fight comes, I almost feel like I'm calm because I know I've put all the hard work in. This is what I was meant to do, and this is my dream to win and to not just to box and to fight, but to perform and put on a show for the crowd. So I know myself and my self-ability that when I'm walking through and the lights and the spotlight's on me when I'm walking to the ring, I'm calm. I'm always calm. Like my last fight, I was boxing against a lad, an Asian lad, and he brought probably about 40, maybe 50 of his fans. And I was walking down to the ring on the ring walk, and there was all the spotlights was on me. And I would come through the smoke, but there was probably about 40, maybe 50 of his fans, and they were booing, they were saying, "You're gonna lose, you're gonna this, that, the other," like giving me proper bad comments and that, giving me proper bad stick. So I smiled, kept calm, you know, putting my shoulders out, looking at every single one of them, and everyone must have thought this guy's got a bit of a screw loose, man. Like, he's trying to front all of his fans. Yeah. Well, I got in there, and again they were all shouting and booing and saying, "Oh, easy win, easy win." Went in there, absolutely boxed his head off, probably the best performance I've had in a very long while, and I soon shut them up. So
you used that to motivate you?
Motivate me, but that's the main thing. Is it's got to the point where I know that this is almost like my job now. So I train almost every day. So when it comes to the time, I'm 110% sure that I'm ready for the fight. So there's no second thoughts and there's no corners being cut. So I can't be having any like anxious thoughts or any bad thoughts going into the ring, because that's when it will start going wrong.
Yeah, for sure. And like I said earlier on in this podcast, man, I can co-sign everything Frankie's saying here, because when I went to the gym and watched him train, I was just, you know, astounded with the way how he was hitting the bag, his movement. He's the real deal, and I advise you guys to follow him. I advise you guys to get behind him and support the journey. Frankie, could you let these guys know, you know, where they can find you and how they can support you?
Yeah, you could. You can find me on @Frankie_Storey on Instagram. On Facebook is Frankie Storey, and on Twitter is @Frankie_Storey.
And do you have any last messages to, you know, your fans and supporters out there, guys that have been following you through these hard times, and anything you want to say to them?
Yeah, obviously sorry for all of the pull-outs. There's not really much that I can do about that. But I just want to say a big thank you for all the support that you've been giving me. I want to say especially big thank you to Jack from the sports bar, Jamie, pretty much all the team at the sports bar. I want to thank Aximum Stone Solicitors, who have recently renewed their sponsorship with me, Max Plasterboard Systems, Brendan Sherry Properties, Gents Barbering, Max Plasterboards, literally so many people, man, that I've got to thank, especially my family and all my friends as well. So, yeah, cheers.
Yeah.
And thanks to you as well.
No worries, man.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for taking the time out to watch the podcast today. Make sure you drop any comments or any questions you might have for Frankie in the comment section below, and we'll catch you guys on the next one.
Thank you.